On the news, local government election holds in Osun State despite suspension calls by AGF and Nigeria Police Force. Minister of Works assures 30 kilometers of Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway Phase 1, Section 1 to be ready before May 29, 2025. And Nigeria's Army Chief visits Zamfara State, gives troops 1 month to crush Bello Turji and other bandit kingpins. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Sinisola Atiku. Despite the controversy in Osun State over the status of local government chairmen and councillors and calls by Nigeria's Attorney General of the Federation and the Nigeria Police for the suspension of the local government elections, voting commenced on Saturday, February 22, as scheduled. The exercise commenced in some local government areas as early as 8 a.m., including Eden North Local Government Area, and Governor Ademola Adeleke voted. The governor, after casting his vote, described the exercise as peaceful, calling on the people of the state to come out and vote peacefully. While the AGF hinged his call on a controversial Court of Appeal judgment which allegedly reinstated the earlier sacked local government chairmen and councillors, the police cited security threats. Earlier, the Osun State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, had in a statement said the government will not go against the rule of law in the conduct of the election. And Nigeria's Minister of Works, David Umahi, has assured that the 30-kilometer section of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway Phase 1, Section 1 will be completed before May 29 this year. The minister said this while inspecting part of the 700 kilometers Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway Section 1, Phase 1 on Friday. TV360's Joy Uchejim completes the report.
It is the second day of the site tour of projects in Lagos State by the Works Minister. While giving details of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road project, the minister expressed optimism that the infrastructure will decongest traffic at the Apapa Wharf axis and solve problems of shallow shafts at the port.
This project here, Section 1 in particular, is going to decongest the entire, corridor of Lagos State, and we move them through the 7th axial route that we are about to construct, or through the Dangote tax credit, down to Ekpe and down to Shagamu, Ore, Benin, going to the east, going to the north.
Umahi further emphasized a collaborative approach to the project implementation, saying that the ministry was working closely with the contractor and consultants to quickly address any challenges before its commissioning on May 29, 2025. He assured the public that the project is being implemented according to the standards of the Federal Ministry of Works.
This project is not just road construction, it is an investment. It has all the beautiful ingredients of an investment. We have train track in between the two carriageway. We have solar lights, which we endorse carbon credits. We are doing this with reinforced concrete of 275 millimeter thick with wide 20 millimeter rods. And this concrete pavement has low emission.
We are committed to delivering this project, and we are working in tandem with the contractor and all the consultants to see that all the challenges we encounter are within the shortest possible time resolved. We are unmindful of the settlements that are required, and we have our check levels. They are all in place, and also ensuring that everything is done to Federal Ministry of Works standard.
Managing Director of High-Tech Construction Company Limited, contractor of the project, pledged commitment to quality construction and timely delivery of the project.
As His Excellency rightly said, we are committed for a good production. High-Tech will aim and we will try our utmost best to work day and night to deliver as His Excellency promised. We have 20 kilometers from the beginning of the project We have 10 kilometers from the end of the project coming backward. And this is not continuous because we are aiming to deliver based on a proper standard, and we try to reduce the settlement wherever there is, and to have a proper compaction, especially we are entering the rainy season as well.
As we can see, the contractor is working. It remains the service lane. And for that service lane to happen, there is need for us to pay compensation in some sections. The compensation is currently being done now. The scoping for the documentation for the payment of those to be paid is currently going on now. By this weekend or early next week, that will be done. Then we'll pass it ahead to you, sir, for approval, after which we'll give the contractor to start paying.
The 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is one of the signature projects of the Tinubu administration. It's expected to link the commercial city of Lagos to the coastal town of Calabar, the Cross River State capital, and significantly cut down travel time between the two cities. Joy Uchejim, TV360, Lagos.
In a related development, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has revealed that the Dangote Group has extended its full payment to the Lagos State government for onward compensation to affected house owners in ongoing road projects along the Lekki Free Trade Zones in accordance to the federal government's tax credit. Speaking on Friday during the inspection tour of the second phase axis in the Lekki Free Trade area, Umahi assured that all affected house owners will be settled before any demolition takes place. The minister further explained that the 54-kilometer service lane is another addition to ongoing projects which would be commissioned before May 29, 2025, ahead of the second anniversary of the Bola Tinubu administration.
The road is going to come between the Lekki Free Zone and Dangote Refinery. And so the Lekki Free Zone made a couple of demands. We looked at those demands. They want for flyovers across, parallel to their properties, along the coastal highway. We've been able to approve, two or one, and then with ramps to further assist them to evacuate, their goods.
We're happy with what we got. We came with wounds, but it has really softened our wounds, and we are very happy. This is going to be a good attraction for all our investors, because this is a major business enabler for us, because road network is key to any business, and because more so the port is here, so we are going to see a lot of activities around this axis. There is no way you cannot have good road network to compensate, to complement what we have. So we are very happy.
The Honorable Minister has been really active in terms of communicating with all the free zones in this area to make sure that we are carried along with the plan. If you plan and you don't engage the people around, then whatever you build will not be useful for what is supposed to be useful. So we really thank the Honorable Minister for taking us seriously enough to engage with us at every point in time. All our needs, all our concerns, he has addressed them adequately, and we're very grateful for that.
And Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, has ordered troops of Operation Fasanyama in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, to crush bandit leaders such as Bello Turji, among other kingpins, within 1 month. Oluyede said this during his maiden operational visit to Zamfara state as part of his tour of the army formation across the northwest.
Oluyede's first visit to the Joint Task Force Operation Fasanyama headquarters in Gusau since his appointment in October 30, 2024, comes at a time when troops are battling banditry and other security threats in the northwest region. Upon arrival, he inspected the quarter guard and proceeded to receive an operational briefing on the current security situation in Zamfara and neighboring states from the theater commander, Major General Oluyinka Shoyele. General Oluyede commended the troops for neutralizing several bandit kingpins in the state and urged them to redouble their efforts to eliminate other high-profile bandits.
You all agree with me that in the last 2 or 3 months, so much has been done here in decimating these criminal elements. For example, you can't hardly hear anything about the Lacroix in the last 3 months because our soldiers and officers are on their trail, moving from one point to the other. As they are moving from one point to the other, we are pursuing them. And we intend to continue with that. It's the same thing with the fight against the bandits there. In the last few months, we killed very prominent bandit leaders, like Samala Boka, the likes of Boderi. All those ones are dead. And as we speak, we're still pursuing them and to see how we can make the entire Northwest very safe.
Oluyede assured to prioritize troops' welfare and provide logistics support. While underscoring the Nigerian Army's dedication to addressing security challenges in the region, the Army Chief stressed that the military alone could not succeed in the ongoing war against violent and armed conflict without the people's support.
Security is everybody's business. So we expect the populace to support us the more, give us information so that we can do our jobs better. For as long as we do that, even our collective enemies will leave a space for us so that we can have space for development.
General Oluyede announced the launch of the Operation Safe Corridor, a program designed to rehabilitate and reintegrate repentant bandits into the society. This initiative reflects the Nigerian Army's commitment to sustainable peace and security in the Northwest region.
Meanwhile, notorious bandit leader Bello Turji has allegedly imposed a 22 million naira levy on 4 villages in Sokoto State following the killing of one of his men during a military operation in the area. According to local reports, the levy is meant to compensate for missing firearms during the raid. The report mentioned that Aminu Boza, a lawmaker representing Sabon Birni West in the Sokoto House of Assembly, identified one of the affected villages as Garin Idi, the hometown of Idris Gobir, the state's deputy governor. Boza also noted that Turji had relocated his base to the eastern part of Isa local government area of Sokoto State. In response, the National Human Rights Commission has launched a climate change unit to address the intersection of environmental issues and human rights. Correspondent Emeka Mako, fast report from Abuja.
The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, has taken a bold step in addressing climate-related human rights concerns with the launch of a climate change unit. The initiative was announced at the 2025 Regional African Human Rights Academic Network Conference in Abuja. The conference brought together academics, policymakers, and human rights advocates from across the continent to discuss the urgent need for climate action. Speaking at the event, experts at the conference noted that Africa contributes the least to global greenhouse gas emissions. They called for stronger policies and legislative action to protect vulnerable communities.
Africa contributes the least to global carbon emissions, but yet bears a disproportionate burden of climate change. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall, desertification, and extreme weather events are no longer distant threats. They are happening right now. Climate justice demands that those who suffer the most from climate change receive adequate support and protection.
Sub-Saharan Africa produce less than 4% of the greenhouse emission, yet it suffered the worst effect of climate change. This is more than an environmental injustice, it's a moral failure. The children of tomorrow will grow up in a climate, in a world, in an environment which is already damaged. And this is the choice they have never made.
They also highlighted the increased impact of climate change on human rights, particularly in Africa, where rising temperatures, extreme weather, and environmental degradation continue to threaten lives and livelihoods.
My team and I last week of January and first week of February, we had the privilege of going to the 9 Niger Delta states, where we saw firsthand the impacts of sea level rising on the coastal communities. And we advocated the need for nature-based climate solutions, starting with the restoration of the mangroves. And so you see, these are real life issues, and it's not just thesis, it's not academic conversation. It is real life things that we are going through as a country.
As an institute, we would like to call for continued collaboration and partnerships across African universities, working with African bodies, human rights bodies, civil societies, government institution, international organization, to ensure that environmental and climate justice are prioritized and also explored within the human rights framework.
To tackle the injustice where the least polluting regions suffer the most from climate change, a combined approach using both local and international legislation remains the most effective solution.
Climate change justice demands that those who suffer should be recompensated, should be compensated in one way or the other. You know, that should be something to cushion the effect of the burden of climate change that they bear, more than the people who generate the pollution that causes climate change.
The highlight of the event was the presentation of the Climate Change Act 2021 to the NHRC, reinforcing Nigerians' commitment to climate justice and human rights protection.
It's time for a short break. Still to come on the news, U.S. Pentagon to cut at least 5% of civilian workforce. Stay with us for details.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
When you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians have said in this part of the world. A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi 360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Here's a recap of some of our stories. Despite the controversy in Osun State over the status of local government chairmen and councillors and calls by Nigeria's Attorney General of the Federation and the Nigeria Police Force for the suspension of the local government election, voting commenced on Saturday, February 22, as scheduled. We also told you that Nigeria's Minister of Works, David Umahi, has assured that the 30-kilometer section of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway Phase 1, Section 1, will be completed before May 29 this year. In case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store, on Facebook or at TV360 online.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
On business, the African Development Bank Group has made a significant move in its fight against corruption and financial crimes by signing a letter of intent with the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol. The letter of intent was signed by the president of the African Development Bank Group, Akinwumi Adesina, and Interpol Secretary General at the bank's headquarters in Abidjan. This collaboration is expected to enhance the partnership between the bank's Office of Integrity and Anti-Corruption and Interpol's Financial Crime and Anti-Corruption Center. Still on business, the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSTRA, has reported an oil spill from Shell's underwater pipeline in Obololi, located in the southern Ijo local government area of Bayelsa State. The agency has begun efforts to recover the spilled crude oil on Friday. In a statement signed by its Director General, Chukwuemeka Awoke, NOSTRA confirmed that a report of the spill was received on Monday, prompting an immediate joint investigative visit to determine the cause. The leak was traced to Shell's 16-inch non-River Kolo Creek pipeline, which caused crude oil to spill into the River Nun, impacting nearby communities in Obololi. However, Woke noted that the exact cause of the leak remains undetermined as the pipeline is submerged in water. On the foreign scene, the U.S. Department of Defense says it will reduce its civilian workforce by at least 5% starting next week. In a statement, the Pentagon announced the move is part of President Donald Trump's broader effort to cut government payrolls. The Trump administration has already begun firing thousands of federal workers on probatory status, and the cuts at the Defense Department, the largest employer in the U.S., will primarily target recently hired employees. And Berlin police have arrested a suspect after a man was stabbed and seriously injured near the city's Holocaust Memorial on Friday. The victim was identified as a 30-year-old Spanish man who was taken to hospital. Authorities have yet to give details on the perpetrator or the motive involved in the attack in the heart of the German capital. Police seized the attack weapon and would interrogate the suspect as the investigation continues. Out of sports, the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa has named Rena Wakama as the best basketball coach in recognition of her outstanding performance at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. In a letter from ANOCA President Mustafa Ibaraf and communicated through the President of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, it was announced that Wakama will be honored at an upcoming event where she will receive her award. Wakama led Nigeria's basketball team to the quarterfinals at the Paris Games, securing an impressive 8th place ranking, a historic first for the country. And 8 months after being sanctioned for serious ethical violations, President of the Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT, Samuel Eto'o, has received a significant reprieve. The Confederation of African Football, CAF Appeals Committee, has overturned the disciplinary panel's decision to impose a $200,000 fine on Eto'o. In July 2024, Eto'o was penalized for his association with the sports betting company 1xBet, which CAF considered a conflict of interest due to his leadership role at FECAFOOT. The committee concluded that the disciplinary body lacked jurisdiction over ethical matters. In addition to overturning the fine, the ruling also reinstates Eto'o's eligibility for the CAF Executive Committee. And that's all on news now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.